Where do the Lakers stand? And who are the LA Lakers? All right, pictured on the screen, you see JJ Redick, and then you got their stars. LeBron James, obviously, still basically the face of the NBA in his 22nd season. I have a problem with that. But that's not what this segment's actually going to be about. It's mostly about Luka, LeBron, and the Lakers roster, and the roster construction and how they're going to perform in the playoffs. JJ Redick is trying to create an offense that is sustainable, and it's up to this point, in my opinion, it's been hard for him to do because he's had Luka out of shape, new to the team. He's been shooting poorly from three since he got to LA. Some games he's hot, some games he's not. Let's just call it inconsistent Luka. And then LeBron, who in the first half of the year actually wasn't playing that great, in my opinion. I think defensively he was lazy. I think his effort was weak in a lot of games. Offensively, he seemed engaged, but that's not what the team needed. And I think in the front half of the year, they took advantage of a weak schedule, playing teams that were without their best players, and it gave them a decent record. It made them look like they were better than what they were. But in January, and then into basically the full month of February, the Lakers actually were really, really good. Their defense was really, really good. And then obviously the trade with Luka, it kind of changed the roster dynamics and, moving AD to Dallas and all that. But from January and through February, the Lakers defense was actually very, very good. And that's why the team was playing better. And that's why the record showed. And that's why they were actually beating good teams and not just beating the bottom feeder teams. So I started to kind of warm up to this idea that maybe the Lakers are actually good because their defensive efforts and their defensive execution was actually good. So I gave JJ Redick his props for that. And I gave LeBron his props for that. LeBron all of a sudden was catapulted into the MVP discussion at some point, like right before his injury. And I'm not buying it. Like, I don't think you can win the MVP because you had a good month or two. Like, you can be the MVP of January. You could be the NBA Player of the Month or whatever in the Western Conference. You could be the MVP of February if you want. Go ahead, you can have that. But you can't win the MVP because of a couple of good months, 6, 7, 8 weeks of good play. That's not how that works. LeBron being in the top 5 for MVP ladder, that key MVP ladder, was a complete disservice to SGA. It was absolutely disrespectful to Joker, Donovan Mitchell, Jason Tatum, Giannis. Those guys have been playing elite level basketball all season long. So to put LeBron in there after 2 good months was blatantly disrespectful, in my opinion. And I really did not appreciate that as an NBA fan. It just felt really disingenuous. And I made videos on that and I discussed it in a previous podcast. But the Lakers, as it currently stands, the way their roster is constructed, the way their offense looks, and how it's like hot and cold. Guys, the Lakers can go from like scoring 40 points in a quarter to scoring 21 points in a quarter. Like, it's crazy. That's because of Luka. Luka, when he's on, raises the ceiling of the Lakers offense. Running those lobs to what's his name? To Jackson Hayes. When his shot is falling, when the threes are going down. When he's feeling it offensively. When he's finding guys, when he's not turning the ball over. The Lakers' ceiling offensively is very high. When LeBron is knocking down his shots, when he's shooting well, their ceiling is high. But when those two, or one of those two, are not on, they're very, very average offensively. And that's because their team offense, as its philosophy and the way that it's constructed and how they run action, it's really simple. And it's predicated around mostly isolations. They try to create a little bit of space. They try to get a little bit of like pick and roll and some screens and stuff to free guys up and get guys some space. But it's not really that dynamic. And the proof of that is if you watch the end of games, you'll notice it. It becomes disjointed. They fall back on iso ball. A simple screen. They just try to get a little space for someone to operate. Austin Reeves or LeBron or Luka. And if one person is isolating, the rest of them are basically doing nothing. So they're betting all their putting all their ducks in a row. They're putting all their eggs into one basket in an offensive possession with an isolation. And when that doesn't work, they don't score. So that's how I've been kind of watching and observing and seeing the Lakers offense defensively. It's one of those things. They're inconsistent. So if you look at the top teams in rebounding, the Lakers are nowhere to be found. They're like middle of the road. Total rebounds, offensive rebounds. So they basically have to rely on making their shots because they don't get a lot of offensive rebounds. There were a couple games where I think Jackson Hayes really helped them out there. And shout out to Gabe Vincent for being a willing offensive rebounder, poking the ball away, trying to keep it alive, getting additional possessions. I see Rui do it sometimes, that kind of thing. But the Lakers don't do anything spectacular when it comes to offensive rebounds or even defensive rebounding. They're not in the top ranks. So for them to be good, they have to be good defensively, right? And the Lakers are a top 5 defense actually since the All-Star break. I'm telling you guys, from January through February, and even in stretches in March, the Lakers defense was playing really well. They are a top 5 defensively ranked team in the NBA. But their offensive rating is not great. There are several games in the last 10, 15, 20 games since Luka's got there where the Lakers had trouble scoring 105 points. And when their opponents are scoring 115, 125,